Hello, welcome back to another episode of Clan B on your FS Science Television. And today we are here in Clan B on your this show where we meet our bands and musicians. And today we are here in the studio with Michael from the band Homonym.
That's me. Nice to meet you.
Welcome, and we're meeting Michael. How are you today, Michael?
I'm good. Yeah, a little tired. Been up a while, but feeling nice. It's nice to be in Salzburg.
Hope it was not too stressful for you to get to this place.
Not at all. No, it's very, very easy to get here. I live in Vienna, so it's just hopping on the Westbahn across the country and get to see all the mountains on the way in. So very fond of Salzburg. It's good to be back.
Okay, a quick one. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
About me? Of course, yeah, I'm originally from England,
Okay.
the very north of England, a city called Bradford, which, little fact about Bradford, we are the most dangerous city in Europe for the last 3 years. There you go, in case you need it for the pub quiz.
Are you dangerous?
Huh?
Are you dangerous?
No, I often say I'm the softest thing they ever made, and we used to make cotton, or we used to like mill cotton. So
Yeah.
no, I'm not dangerous at all. Yeah, and I moved here to Austria 9 years ago to join a band and make music, and yeah, that's all I've been doing for the last like nearly decade now.
Yeah. So now we are here to talk about your music video, your new music video,
Sure.
and your new album. I know you had an album. The title of the album, 10/1.
We're pronouncing it January 10th. It's actually a date. I made this very unwise decision to name an album Numbers.
Okay, okay.
Which is, and because I love the way it looks, it's like the number 10, a /01, which to me looks kind of beautiful. But I realized about a week before I released it, nobody will know how to say this. So it's a date, it's January 10th. And yeah, it came out about a month ago, January 10th.
Oh, so 10/1 means January 10th.
Yeah, like the date.
Oh, the
Which
date.
would also be weird in America because it would be October 1st. But we're going with the European
Okay.
date version.
For the album too. Is there any
Yeah.
specific reason why you picked this as the album title?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an important date. It's a bit sad. My mum died on January 10th about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, sorry. And yeah, I don't know. I wrote down that date a few times because it's very important to me. And just something about how it looks visually. Homonym as a project has a lot to do with kind of symmetry and,
Sorry.
difference, and the way that you have the one here and the one on the other side and these zeros and this break in the middle. It grabbed me, and the album has a lot to do with the period before and after that experience. So yeah, it seemed fitting to name it after something,
Okay.
yeah, quite so significant as that, I guess.
So you are saying that this album was born out of the fact that your mom died on that date.
Yeah, I mean, it's an album as a theme. I think loss is probably the most
Okay.
common theme, which again is a little sad. There is some happy songs on there too. It's mostly pretty sad. But loss, I think it's something that we all have to go through at some point, whether it's losing, yeah, in my case, my mum, or a partner, or a job, or, you know, life. We kind of come in and we kind of slowly start losing things. And I think for me, learning how to go through loss, how to still have yourself at the end of it, to not lose yourself, I think has been one of the most important lessons
Yeah.
that I could learn. So yeah, half the album is really about her, half of it about a breakup that happened around the same time, which seems less important, but it's still a big
So now
deal,
we can
so-
see that the songs on the album varies. They
Yeah.
all mean different things. Breakup and the loss
Sure.
of your mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And some of the little things happen in between, and some stories I invented as well. There's some fictional
Okay.
stories on there. So yeah,
Real stories or fictional stories.
there's a mix. So there's some very personal stuff,
Okay.
and I've tried to be very on the surface and very vulnerable. I used to hide quite a lot in my songs and put other people almost in my place.
Yeah.
But I decided I really wanted to try and be honest and share and make connection with people. But there is one or two songs where the last song is called the Bermuda Gazette. And
Okay.
in this song, I was writing in this little cottage in the countryside. And I went on Wikipedia to get some song ideas. And I don't know if you know the random article button on Wikipedia.
Okay.
You can press a button and it will just create, I'll show you a random article from Billions, I guess, or
Okay.
millions. And it gave me this song titled The Bermuda Gazette. And I wrote a song about the editor of this newspaper who I invented, who is leaving his job and handing it over to somebody else.
Yes.
And yeah, leaving his career of like decades and decades. And yeah, we'd say being put out to pasture. So even, yeah, the characters that I invent are losing things.
What kind of genre of music would you say you do?
It's a bit up and down. You know,
Okay.
I think the easiest way to say would probably be mostly folk music, but not quite so like, say, Dylan or like Neil Young folk music. But there's a bit of like a revival of this like indie folk, slightly more upbeat, modern folk music, I suppose. So indie folk, there's some rocky moments, there's some very gentle moments, but yeah, that's the genre we're going with.
Okay, now, I'm a long listener,
Mm-hmm.
but a first time caller. What does that mean?
Long time listener, first time caller. I don't know the origins of that phrase, but it's something that, say, if somebody listens to the radio or watches FS1, for example,
Okay.
For years and years and years, but they never, do you know how these things, they have like call-ins of like, call in and tell us about this or something, especially on the radio, because
Yeah.
they need to fill dead space, empty space. So somebody might call in and say, hey, I'm a long-time listener, but a first-time caller. But yeah, that's a line in the song Jericho.
Oh, it's a lie.
You've done your
Yeah,
done your research.
because you're a long time listener, first time caller, to tell you I miss you.
Exactly.
So it's
yeah.
actually a lie in the song.
Yeah, so it's, in the song Jericho, it's probably the kind of central line about trying to make connection with I don't personally believe in an afterlife or a God,
Okay.
but the song is kind of about trying to speak to whoever is now looking after my mum, in my case,
okay.
and yeah, to hope that she's being taken care of. So in that sense, I've been listening. My dad's a priest. I'm actually the son of a preacher.
Okay.
So I've been hearing these things all my whole life, but I haven't really believed them. So in that regard, I'm very much a long-time listener, but a first-time caller.
And the video, your video Jericho, you were just going, and you got to the last point of the video. You pulled out a mic.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that idea?
It's a concept. I didn't do the creative parts of the video. A guy called Gabriel Hydron, who's an amazing videographer, came up with it, and I told him about the story of the song and about what I've been going through, and basically in the whole video, I'm following this cable through mountains and hills, and eventually I reach in and pull out a microphone from the water like King Arthur and Excalibur.
Yeah,
and I think the idea is that I'm clearly searching for a way of making connection and communicating, and singing and making music has been a massive part of that, a way of dealing with grief and a way of, like I say, forming connection with others, people who know how that feels, and that's been one of the most healing parts of making the album, is hearing from people who know what that's like, who've had their own experience with it. So yeah, even through all that horrible year, at the end of it, I could pull out an album, and yeah, that's kind of what
that makes a lot of sense, because I was trying to put my head around it. I was trying to figure out what this means, although I didn't know you were talking about your mom. But I was trying to say, because who listen to the song would think you are singing for a girl or something. But at the end of the day, you pulled out the mic. I was like, mic? But now it makes a lot of sense.
What do you think it was going to be? Did you
I have no clue. I had no clue what was going to be there. But now it makes a lot of sense seeing you pulling out the mic and your explanation. Yeah. So talking about the name of your band, Homonym, linguistics. Homonym means a word with different same spellings, different meaning, or same pronunciation, different meanings.
Exactly.
So why do you choose that to be your band name?
I think it's a word that I've always known. I'm really into English. I was probably better at English than music when I was growing up, so I've always been into wordplay and linguistics and stuff like this. So I always knew about homonyms and homophones. These groupings of words, the way they sound, the way they're spelt. And I kind of relearned the word homonym, I guess about 10 years ago or something. I came across it, I think in a YouTube video actually.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, that's a pretty word. You know, just sounds so nice, homonym. And I was like, what does that mean again? And then I just typed in define homonym in Google, and it said exactly the way you put it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of me. Because, yeah, two words which are spelled the same, look the same, but they have different meanings.
Yeah.
I've often felt like two people stuck in one body. I might look like one person, but I'm actually 2, 3, sometimes 4, depending on the day of the week. Different people, different personalities, and yeah, it just really connected with me. And all the songs I was writing then was very much about dealing with those two pieces of me, you know, and this feeling that maybe they can connect, maybe one day one will devour, destroy the other. But yeah, the songs have a lot of that in them, duality, two things in one. And yeah, so homonym, it stuck with me. I could have been my name as well, but I decided to make it a slightly more, poetic name, and then I can change it. I don't always have to be Michael Day. I can, if I suddenly want to start playing jazz, I can do it.
You can switch. You can always switch to different.
Exactly.
So before we come back to you, hello viewers, you are still on Clan B, and we are talking to Michael in the studio from the band Omoni, and this is your favorite television, FS Science Community Television, right here in Salzburg. And I'm your host, Joshua Aigu, and talking to Michael from the band Omoni. So now, you made mention of Omoni being, the definition of Omoni being one word, different meanings, same spelling or different spelling. So how will you describe yourself outside music? Who else are you? Who is Michael outside
Who am
music?
I?
Yeah.
I haven't been asked. I think my therapist was the last person to ask me this.
Oh, somebody asked you this question before now.
I guess on a date or something.
Okay.
Usually have an answer prepared, but I'll try and summarize me. I mean, like my personality, I guess, like I say, is quite split. I'm very much half an extrovert, half an introvert. I can be incredibly shy and want to stay inside and hide from the world for days sometimes. And I can also stand on stage and play to hundreds of people. It doesn't faze me at all. So, that's kind of what I mean by those two pieces of me. And it's not always ideal, you know. Sometimes it would be nice just to be one clear thing where I can say I'm this. But it really depends, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. But in terms of what I do, I mean, I'm really into running. I'm a trail runner. The last time I was in Salzburg, I was running an ultramarathon called the Mozart Ultra.
Yeah.
So I was having flashbacks of the Kapuzinerberg Berg when I was walking up the street. I was there in the pouring rain after running for 16 hours last time I was in Salzburg. So running's a big part of my life. That's where I feel I can do whatever I please, really. Music and career and job, I feel like there's often other people that kind of set you limits, I suppose, on what you can do, and you need to either ask for permission or you need to wait for somebody to care. But with running long distances, I feel like I can just go as far as I want to, which is often pretty far, stupidly far most of the time. I don't recommend it. So that's been a big part of the last few years. I think also with the grief, it is not a coincidence that it came along then. I also quit drinking 3 years ago, almost to the day, and that's also when trail running and the album came along to maybe fill that little hole that beer left. I guess they're the kind of big parts, and if there's anything specific you want to know about me, but that's how I would summarize me in about a minute.
So now the next question is, what would you have been if you are not a musician?
What would I have been?
Yeah.
Definitely a writer.
A writer.
Yeah, like I say, English was a big thing for me. I genuinely think I'm a better story writer, or I was a more natural story writer when I was a kid than I was a musician. But I come from a very musical family, and it seemed very natural to do music. But writing stories. I work with children, and I write songs for the kids, and I've written a few children's books that I haven't done anything with. But album came, and then next year I hope to do something with this. So, but I love music. I'll always want to work in music. I'm a teacher. Like I say, I work with children as well. So I can't see myself not doing music in my life. But or maybe I'll, go work in an office or something.
Oh, someday.
It would be an easier life. A holiday would be really, really great.
All right, all right.
Some sick pay.
Do you have any band projects coming up soon?
With Homonym, no, just did the album. So I decided I would release it and then just ask myself, like I do with most things, do you want to keep doing this? Do you want to, or do you feel like you should because it's what you do? And I know that I'll always make music, and Homonym has, the whole process of making it feels like it's gone on forever. It took about, how long, 3 years to make it, from writing to arranging to producing, and then all the releasing things take about a year too. So I think a little break from that stuff would be really nice. And but eventually I'm starting to get ideas. I tend to not, unless I'm really actively trying to do something, I don't tend to make myself write music. It just kind of finds me. Walking down the street, I'll hear I don't know, something that sounds melodic, and it maybe triggers something in my head. So I feel like when my brain is ready for a project, then it will find me. But like I say, I've written these songs for children, and I want to produce these and release these myself because that just seems really fun. I don't need to write these grown-up sad songs. Songs about astronauts and hedgehogs or whatever, and that seems a little less high stakes than death and breakups and stuff like that.
So now the quick question I want to ask you: your videos. I watched Jericho and I watched 10 over 10, 10th of January, like you said.
Exactly.
They're kind of lonely videos, just you in the videos. Does that pass a message?
Yeah, I mean, I guess loneliness, isolation is, it's definitely a theme. A song called Town Monster is also very lonely. I did a video for this as well. I guess it's something that everybody feels, loneliness, especially living in cities. It's funny that the place I feel least lonely is running around the trails in the forest, on my own, literally with nobody else around. Or I run in Schönbrunn in Vienna at 6 in the morning and the whole park is empty. So there I don't feel very lonely, but I guess in cities when you're surrounded by people and people aren't talking and everyone's on their phones and nobody's looking where they're going, for me that feels kind of lonely because you feel, sometimes I doubt, I doubt that I exist. I'm kind of like, am I invisible or something like this?
Is anybody here with me?
Not that I want attention, actually, probably quite the opposite. I hate attention, but just, I guess, to feel connection with other people, I miss this. And back home, where I'm from in England, I think England has this reputation of being quite cold and quite, I guess, polite in not a good way, but I'm from a really friendly place where everybody calls you mate or love, and there I don't feel very lonely because wherever you go, you have a little talk and you say hello to people in the street, whereas Vienna has a reputation for being kind of rude, and it's all true. So
I can relate to that.
It can feel a little lonely in Vienna, but I have some really good friends and some really good people around me. So but the videos, I guess, a reflection
of what
feeling.
you experience on a daily basis.
Yeah, exactly.
You do live performance, right?
Yeah, not as often as I'd like the last years because making the album was very time consuming. I also have to work and make my rent and stuff, and the offers weren't flying in, but now it's out, things are picking up. I played a couple of shows in the last month and there'll be some next year. I'd love to come back to Salzburg if anybody's wants to book me.
Well, to book
you
you
know where to find me.
Salzburg.
I've played here lots of times. My old band, we'd play at the Rock House quite a lot, and I was at the Arga last year with my friend Amelie Tobin. She's like a Salzburg legend. So I play in her backing band. So I perform a lot, but with Homonym, it's been very much album. So maybe some gigs next year would be nice. I love performing.
Has there been any time you forgot your lyrics when performing?
Not as often as some people. I'm not going to name names. I play with a guy who, it's a miracle if he remembers any lines really in any songs. But with me, somehow they come out. I don't know. I've got quite a good memory. Somehow I'm not in important things in life. I tend to forget my keys or whatever. But things like song lyrics, they somehow stick in my brain. And there's quite a lot of them. I write stories in these songs that have a lot of verses. So, but no, I'm generally quite good. remembering things.
You remembering all your songs.
All my few
Maybe I
strengths.
think that is because you have background from writing, so you have a memory of keeping all these things. It was
Yeah,
really nice talking to you, Michael.
it's been a pleasure.
Thank
Thanks so
you
much
for
for having
sharing
me.
a part of you to us in FS Science. And this is our show. This is the time we have for today. So we'll be watching the video of Michael Jericho now on this television. Thank you for staying out with us. Thank you for sharing.
pleasure.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too.
Yeah, good.